Well, welcome back to Hawk Talk. I'm Seth Morkirky.
I'm Susanna Moberg.
And we have a guest who hasn't been on in probably a year, so we're very excited for him to be back. Go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you do here at DSU.
I'm Gresh Jones. I am a redshirt junior on the wrestling team here.
Yeah, you missed quite a bit of this season so far due to an injury. So talk about what it's been like to, kind of sit out for a little bit in your junior season and what you've had to do to kind of prepare for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I felt super prepared going in that first tournament, ended up second, and in the semis I hurt both of my knees actually. So it's been a long recovery, getting back with a little meniscus in both knees. So It's been long and slow, but it's been really nice because I've been having to do a lot of mental stuff with Coach, and he's been helping me through a lot of that mental stuff and keeping my head right, even when those days I couldn't practice for a couple weeks at all, couldn't get on the mat. So it's been nice now that I can get back on the mat, and I'm wrestling this weekend, so I'm just excited and ready to get back out there.
Yeah, we're excited to kind of watch and see how things go finally for you.
Yeah.
But you've always been that vocal leader and kind of that just physical leader who's always has that presence. You're kind of the only one who talks from the wrestling team when we interview you guys. So we just know that you're that leader. But how did that kind of take a back seat or take a front seat during this injury?
It almost made me be more of a vocal leader. Being out that much, you could tell some of the guys were like a little unmotivated. Things weren't going right. They're not winning as many duels. Mm-hmm. They don't got that little extra motivation to see some guy go out there, get a pin or a tech every once in a while. Mm-hmm. And, it just made me at practice, when I was out, I would always be screaming at some guys, helping them out when they need help. On the technique sessions, if they're asking me and they look a little confused, I just go over and help them, let them calm them down, say, take a breath, man, it's going to be all right. But now that I'm back out there, it's really nice because now I can run around with the guys, wrestle with the guys, and help them and scream at them. So it's really nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Wrestling is both a physical and also a mental sport. So what are some things that you do to prepare, before a practice, before a match, to prepare for that physical and that mental need?
Yeah, I mean the physical part of the side, that just comes with preseason and just being there, doing the things you're doing right. Mm-hmm. You're doing the right things, so it's going to be there. Mentally, it's the tough part. Yeah. Mentally, I do a lot of Coach always talks about visual matches, going through a practice. Before practice, I just kind of sit there. I'll go in the sauna a little bit or heat my legs up, and I'll just visualize what I need to work on for that practice. If I'm struggling with my singles, finishing down, then I'm going to visualize finishing my singles low, and then I'll go through my matches. The guys that I lost to last year, those couple guys I lost to, I've went through probably 100 matches since I've been out with them, just in my head. So when I get to them, hopefully one of those matches will take place and it comes out with me coming up on top.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's cool. And
as you're visualizing those matches and preparing for that, what would you say is your go-to song before you go into a match?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of have a little girly side to me with my songs, so I like a little Party for Two. I like to get that Party for Two
That's a good
by
one.
Shania. Yeah, and Selena Gomez, some Slow Down.
Oh,
I like those
good.
Upbeat kind of girly songs. Makes me smile, gets me not tensed up anymore, relaxes me. So a lot of my teammates make fun of me. You'll hear it in the room, some Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh yeah, but
Wow.
that's just me. That's just me. I like it.
I like it. Dang.
Yeah.
You should make a wrestling playlist and send it out on Spotify, and we can all
I got it. You just let me
prepare
know.
for you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thinking about wrestling, this is probably, we're going to talk about stereotypes. Is there a stereotype for wrestling that, you think a lot of people think about wrestling that you would say isn't even true about wrestling?
Maybe a little bit. A lot of guys think we're super tough and don't show our emotions. Wrestlers, I think, show the most emotions. I mean, we guys are in the room crying all the time. Guys are tearing, just not for any particular reason, just because you might not get what you want out of that practice, and you're pissed off at yourself a little bit. You're like, I should be doing better.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it all the time. I think to myself, I just sit there and I'm like, God, I should be doing better than this, but that's then for next practice, something you can work on, and then you hopefully get better at that.
So, emotions, man, that's
good. Emotions are big.
I would agree with that. That's cool. Looking past the wrestling this coming weekend, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but looking past, there's a big event happening on Sunday, the Super Bowl. So we want to get your opinion. We'll probably give our opinions eventually, and we'll get every other guest. Who's going to win that Super Bowl and why?
Patriots. Tom Brady. I'm a big Tom Brady fan.
Yeah.
I was the only one to pick at my house. We got 4 athletes in the house, so they're all they were all going with the Chiefs and all that. So I was like, I'm picking the GOAT.
Yeah,
Tom Brady's going to drive down. He's clutch. So I got him all day. Yep.
Great. Oh, gosh. Okay, here's the thing. So after the last game, what was like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
I was going to go watch the game at Blue 42, and I was on the phone with my cousin, and she's 7. And I was telling her, I'm going to go watch the game. And she's like, oh, who are you cheering for? And I was like, I don't know, Marley. Who should I cheer for? And she was like, well, Susanna, you can't cheer for the Patriots because they're a bunch of cheaters. And so
Yeah,
I'm not cheering for them
Yeah.
because my 7-year-old cousin told me not to. That's the only basis I have for the decision that I'm making here.
I'm cheering for the Patriots as well.
Okay, well, Marley would be
Tom
really
Brady
disappointed at
is
you guys.
the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL, and he will go get another
Can't
one.
count him out.
I just want to see him continue. And
Okay.
they do this every single year. The third week into the season, they think the Patriots aren't going to win the Super Bowl because they've lost 2 games, and it's like, here they are again,
You know,
4 out of 5
well,
times.
We'll see if Marley was right in her prediction.
Getting back on track. We'll get back on track. Talking about wrestling, the Jamestown duel was canceled because it's crazy weather out there. It's negative 50 or something like that.
Yeah.
Looking ahead this Saturday, you guys are going to Morningside. What's that it's a tournament, right? Yeah.
Yep.
What's that tournament going to be like for you personally and for the team, looking ahead to the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. After this tournament, we only got 2 duels away in Minot and Concordia, and then it's on to regionals. So this is the last tournament before regional tournament. So everybody's got to go out there. We're motivated now. We're really hungry to get out there.
Yeah.
Season's winding down right now, so everyone's itching to get out there.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. I'm excited. First tournament back. Got to come out with a bang and hopefully end up on top. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've had a few of the younger wrestlers on the show this season, I guess you could call it, of the show. But the team as a whole is pretty young this year. So, but they're still seeing a lot of success. We read every week after your matches, they're doing pretty well. So,
Yep.
how have those younger guys done stepping into their roles on the team?
Really good. So this year, one of our main things has been adversity. We've had a lot of guys quit, a lot of bad things happen, injuries, and like those guys, I'm gonna throw a couple names out there: Trey Fishbach and Tanner Stone, young guys who have really been stepping up. And most of those guys, they're not really vocal leaders. When a couple of us quit and I got injured, they really stepped up big, and I noticed that a lot. And I've been talking with them a lot, and I'm really glad they did because we needed someone to step up, and Stone's been making big jumps in the wrestling game.
Yeah.
Last year, he was just out on that verge. Now he's starting to break through and place at some tournaments, and it's really encouraging to see, so I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can tell there's excitement in your eyes to get back this weekend, and
Yeah.
we're really excited to see you. Looking ahead, like you said, there's only 2 weeks until regionals, and then I think it's 2 more weeks or something like that. The end of February into March is nationals, and so like, what's it gonna take to make a run for the team and for you personally in the next month or so?
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of hard work, and biggest thing is conditioning and mental side again. I mean, especially with me being injured, biggest thing come back now. I know I'm there mentally. I just got to condition, make sure my legs and everything are back to where they should be, and that pace that I can just keeping going. So that, and then team-wise, we're ready to go. We're hungry, and I don't think anyone really right now is scared of the opportunity we have.
Yeah.
We just got to go out there and do our best. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last, you want to ask it?
Oh, sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we've been asking everyone this year. I'm sure you've heard if you've been on campus ever. We just celebrated our centennial year, and really big deal. So as we think about that centennial year, and you think about your time here at DSU and your time as a wrestler, what does DSU mean to you?
DSU, well, DSU it's been life-changing. Ever since I came to DSU, I came here for family and wrestling, and that's what I've got out of it. That's the most important thing to me right now is family wrestling. I live with 2 family members, my best friend and my girlfriend, so I get to see my family every day and them supporting me every day. And my mom and dad are 2 hours away, so they're always calling us up, letting us know how we're doing, telling us to keep our grades up. So it's been awesome. Family's big here, and with the coaching staff, I can't thank Coach Schleck enough. Coach Schleck has been awesome. I just got done lifting with the guy 20 minutes ago before I came here. I mean, we do everything together. He's always there helping me out through injuries and stuff, so family's huge.
Yeah, well said.
Good answer.
We're glad you came on today, man. I've been looking forward to getting you on the show this year. It's always good to talk to you. I know you have a really great perspective about sports and wrestling and life in general, so thanks for coming on.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be back talking with one of those family members right after this. Well, welcome back to Hawk Talk. We have the brother of Gresh on the show. We're doing a little family thing today, I think. So go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from and what you're doing here at DSU.
My name is Trace Jones. Go to school here at Dickinson State, obviously. I'm running track this year, and I'm a sophomore.
Yeah, so it's your sophomore season, the second year here at DSU. Is there any differences that you've seen in your track career compared to last year as a freshman?
For sure. Last year was it was a bump in the road for me. It was kind of a wake-up call. I mean, in high school, you're coming off your senior year, you're super successful. You're kind of expected to win everything, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of had the mindset last year, like, oh, it's not a big deal if I lose, right? Because these guys are better than me, they're older than me. I'm not the top dog anymore. This year, losing, no one likes losing. So I kind of came out with a chip on my shoulder this year and knew I had something to prove. And so far, so good. So just trying to keep grinding.
That's cool. I could go out and run track right now, I think, with that.
Okay.
There's a coaching it's a coaching difference, or maybe there's coaching change, I should say. Coach Walker was here last year, Coach Whitcop this year. What have you noticed in their coaching styles or in their preparation for you guys this year?
Kind of talking to him one-on-one. Coach Walker's a little bit more intense, and which are both great styles. Coach Whitcop's a little bit more laid back, which is nice. Coach Walker was great too, obviously.
Yeah.
that guy's he's a legend
He's
here.
a legend, man, yeah.
But really no difference. They both got the same mindset. They're both big-time winners every day. You get to practice. We have Mondays. We got meetings. You get in there, and it's like he'll bring up all the standings on, showing us Dakota State, because right now Dakota State's kind of on top.
Really?
Right now.
Okay.
We lost a lot of people, and so it's just keep getting better, keep doing your thing, and got to show out at the divisionals.
That's right, man.
Yeah. All right, so here's a quick side note. It's really cold outside,
Yep.
and we probably shouldn't be in school today because after a few minutes you can get frostbite. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
But on a very, very cold day like today, when we do still have school, even though most other schools in the state don't, this doesn't matter for Seth, he's not in school anymore. But what does it take for you to get out of bed in the morning, face the cold, make it to class?
I've just always been a kind of a go-getter, so,
Look at you.
if they say that we got school, right?
Hey,
You got practice, you got to show
I'm
up.
proud
So
of you.
just one of those things you got to do. You got to do your thing.
Yeah, and you, listen, that was a great answer. I'm really proud of you. As I sit over here and I just complain about the fact that I have to get out of bed in the mornings, but you also play football, which happened at the beginning of the year, and you've worked now with some of those guys in football and now in track. So what's it like to work with them there, and then the atmosphere and environment of working with them now in this new sport?
It's obviously the physical, beating each other up isn't there in track as much as it is in football, but it's just a family thing. You like Kane, you got the older guys that you look up to, obviously. He's a little bummed up right now, which sucks, but it's the same thing. I mean, you just grow together as one.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, football's a team sport more of, but you all still got to do your individual thing to help your team. Same with track, where it is an individual sport, but you got to look at the team aspect of it,
Right.
grow together as one, and just keep working.
That's good.
Yeah. We asked Gresh this question as well, but we'll ask you, and you talked a little bit about this with us right before you came on for your segment, but who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I'm not taking no Deflategate Tom Brady, that is for sure. I will say, Aaron Donald's going to deflate Tom Brady, flatten him on the back a few times for sure. So I'm going to take the Rams. You got a vet in Tom Brady, and then you got kind of not a rookie, but he's like a soft second year, third year, in Jared Goff, who's playing great. They got Brandon Cooks, good receivers. So Todd Gurley, CJ Anderson, they're a tough team. So I'm taking them for sure.
That's good.
So it's going to be an intense weekend in the Jones household.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
Maybe some wrestling going on.
Yeah, maybe.
Might
Hey.
have to.
This past weekend, you guys went to Black Hills, and is the second. I think it's your third meet that you guys have had this year. Second time at Black Hills. You ran in the 400. You took third. No, you took second.
Third, yeah.
Took third, and you ran a 51, something like that,
Yep,
which is
51.6.
incredible. That's
Oh my
so
gosh.
fast. But talk about that race and anything else that you did that weekend and how it felt to be back on the track.
It felt great. Last year, I actually didn't get a chance to run like a 400 on a 200-meter track, which is an unregulated 200-meter track, is indoor. So in the first week up at Black Hills, I ran the open 4, and I was in. There wasn't the kids that won weren't quite in my heat. We had Dakota beat me from DSU actually, but this week we ran them in the 4x4, South Dakota team and Black Hills, and both these kids were super fast, and they were both in my heat this time.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's see, let's see how this goes. And I'm out in lane 6, the outside lane.
Yeah.
So out right off the gun, I heard them kind of coming, so I pushed the pace a little bit on the first lap because I knew they had a little bit more sprinting speed on me. And that second lap, I just kind of gave it my all, and it was, it was a fun race. Didn't quite get what I wanted.
Yeah.
Got third though, right behind those guys, so I was pretty excited.
Wow, it's a mental thing too, just like track, or
Yeah.
just like wrestling. Looking at that 400, I guess I want to ask this question: is there a way you prepare for, like, the 400 is like the worst race in all of track, I think, maybe besides the 300 hurdles. Anyways, preparing for that indoor and outdoor, there's probably a difference because in outdoor it's just one lap, in indoor it's 2 laps. So how do you prepare for both of those races, as the same race?
Just like Gresh said with wrestling, it's a physical and a mental thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get ready. Your preparation is going to get you ready physically. But during that race, like, there's times where you're just like, man, I'm just going to walk off this track. I'm tired, right? But you got to just keep pushing through, keep going. There's not a right way to run it. I'm sure you could say, push at the 150 mark,
Right.
blah, blah, and stuff like that. But no, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
Just get out there, push the first 200 and see what you can do at the end of the race. And that's where the mindset comes in. That was the last 100 meters. So.
Yeah.
That's good.
Looking ahead this weekend, you guys are heading to NDSU. How are you feeling, and how's the team feeling as you prepare for that meet?
We feel great. I'm really excited this year. We lost a lot of guys, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but it's college. That's going to happen, right? And we got a lot of young guys this year that are stepping up big time. We don't have many short distance sprinters this year, but we do have like 4, 8 mile guys. A lot of them actually, like 3 or 4 in each event. So all those guys are going to have to step up. We're all going to have to place at the conference meet and see how it goes. Very excited for the meet this weekend.
Yeah.
And same question we ended with Gresh. DSU Centennial Year, pretty big deal. What does DSU mean to you?
It means everything, I came here because of family. Gresh came here. Cody lives with us. Cody Johnson, the kicker on the football team. Tyler Quilling, my cousin, 2 hours away. Get sad, want to go see mom or dad, and just drive right home.
Yeah.
And the family here is just insane. All the older guys on the football team, older guys on the track team, they just accept you right as you come through the door at DSU. So it's a great place to be. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Well said.
It's awesome.
Well, thank you for coming on, Trace. Man, I'm guaranteeing we'll probably have you on in the next couple, maybe the next outdoor season, and especially in the next couple of years.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. We'll be back talking with the track coach right after this.
Life is full of many successes, achievements, stages. Every year we grow, things change, and pretty soon we realize we want and need to do more. When you're ready for that next step, Dickinson State University will get you there. Find out how at dsublue.com.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk. We've got another special guest, a track coach, on the show with us. So why don't you introduce yourself, say what you do here at DSU.
My name is Shane Whitcop. I'm the head track and field coach, as well as cross country, as well as I'm an instructor in the exercise science department.
Awesome. Yeah. Actually, I didn't know that. That's really cool. How long have you done that?
Since the day I got here.
For real?
Yeah.
Big. You
Education
should have
is my
written that
jam.
here. Well, anyways.
We'll get that.
Okay, well, Seth said we'll talk about it, so we will. But can you talk a little bit about the season so far? You're a few meets in. Just talk about the season, how it's going so far.
Well, so far we've had 2 meets. The first meet, we got here on Monday for the first day of school, and our 5th day of practice was the meet on Friday. So that first meet, we kind of trained through it. So there were some sore hamstrings and some tired kids when we showed up. So when we got off the bus, we kind of put people in events with the idea of, it was going to be a working meet where we were going to put people that were ready for multiple events in multiple events so they could get some good conditioning, and the people that weren't ready for multiple events, we were going to put them in events where they weren't going to get hurt. So we didn't run anybody in the 200 or anybody in the 60-meter dash that first week. We had some good hurdlers that were ready, so we ran Kinsey, Grubbs, and we ran Cleet Rosinski as well, and they both ran pretty well considering that they had about an hour and 15 minutes of practice over the hurdle. The first time Cleet went over those 42-inch hurdles in practice was a little bit of experience. Kinsey, the 33s are a little bit nicer to you, but things went well. My expectation for the kids were that they go out and compete as hard as they could. We all knew we weren't ready for the conference championship on that day, but my expectation was for them to just go out and try, as hard as they could. Second meet, we had a 2-week break there. So we trained hard the week after, which was kind of a miserable week because they had worked pretty hard the week before
Yep.
that. Then they had a meet that they might not have been 100% ready for, and then we had a hard week of practice after that. So 2 weeks in, they weren't feeling the love so much, but that was work you've got to do. You know, you can't hide from the work.
Right.
You can't do that. So we put a lot of work in those first 2 weeks. Then we backed off just a little bit going into that third week where we had that other Black Hills meet, and you could see kids were ready to do multiple events. They were ready to do some more technical events. So we actually went down on Friday night, took a distance medley down there, which, you know, with this bad weather, it's been a little bit tough on our middle and longer distance kids, but we've got phenomenal middle and long distance runners. So, you know, they went down, competed hard. We're going to run the DMR again. So the distance medley, you run a 1,200 meters, the first leg, then you hand it to a 400-meter runner, which is a complete shift in pace, right? And then that 400-meter runner hands it to an 800-meter runner. 800-meter runner hands it to a miler. And,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
it wasn't our first experience ever running that race, but it was the first experience in a while. So, for example, like JC Wilson ran the mile. Well, when you get the baton and you're 5 or 6 seconds behind and you're running the mile, you're fresh at the beginning of the mile. So you could sprint up to the beginning, but you're going to pay for it for the rest of the race. And
gosh.
we coached her up on that, and she still went out just a little bit too hot because she wanted to get back, you know, to a position where we could run exactly what we wanted to do. So it was a learning experience, right? You gotta, you know, hold your water a little bit there so that you don't, you know, take off too fast. So we'll give that another go this weekend. So those kids are going up on Friday and they'll run that again. So, and we've got a heck of a team. You know, not a lot of teams have run, and we are a ways off the qualifying standard, but I still think we're like 7th in the nation, right, in the DMR.
Cool.
So we have got some work to do if we're going to qualify for nationals. But considering where everyone else is that's run that race, I think we're in pretty good shape. So, but you will see sometimes, you know, get knocked down there. Then we took the women to weight throw as well. We've got a, you know, spoiler alert, we've got a pretty young and talented group of female throwers, which is a little bit strange because usually we've got a ton of male throwers and not as many female, but we've got a lot of really talented throwers. Some of the young kids like McCready Miller are learning how to throw the weight for the first time. And actually this is her second indoor season, right? She had one indoor season in high school. And now she's learning how to kind of do these other events. And if you ever go to practice and they're throwing the weight throw, just make sure you keep your head on the swivel. We had one girl slip and it was about head level and about 8 feet away, it hit the wall, right?
Oh my
So
gosh.
we're making sure that we're not doing starts or anything near those guys if they're throwing the weight. So, and then, you know, young kids, Jaden Hawley is a freshman that's redshirting for us on the male side. Watching them kids get a chance to throw that as well is interesting. But, you know, some of the other kids, Savannah had a really good first meet. She didn't have quite the meet that she wanted, but she's consistent, you know what I mean? And we are, in that group, that's what we're looking for, is those kids to get more and more consistent. The next day, you know, everybody else come down, and there was a little bit of shuffling in the meet, and the 5,000 meter runners who were supposed to run at the end of the day ended up having to run at the beginning of the day.
That's good.
And so hats off to Hunter Flynn, eat a sandwich, warm up for 5 minutes, and run 5,000 meters of the side ache the whole time, and run not too bad of a time, right? I think he's 5th in the conference right now. His time will come down as well. But the kids had a great day. The quarter milers, you know, a lot of them took, you know, we had a pretty good showing in the quarter mile the first meet. You know, the second meet, a lot of those kids took a second off of their time, and some of them took even more than that. So kids like Tyler Burke, we had such a long football season, right? Playing into Thanksgiving, you know, usually we would have an opportunity to get a couple conditioning sessions in going into Christmas break. Didn't get an opportunity to do any of that. So those kids come in, you know, I think they had a side ache before we started the first meeting, you know, for training. But kids are rounded into shape. Trace ran fantastic. You know, he was just fast enough to get in the absolutely smoking fast heat with a couple 48-second quarter milers. but he held his own. He ran well. So I'm super pleased kind of where he's at. Our relay ran well as well.
Yeah.
Cleet Rzinski did not want to, he was in a fetal position with his hood up, trying to hide from me when I found him. Because initially he wasn't, probably going to have to run it, but we had another kid that, wasn't feeling well. And I asked him, hey, can you go? It's great conditioning for him. It's not like he's saving it. And it was a good situation. He threw the shot put and ran the hurdles and high jump that day. So it's not like he was suffering from a side ache or anything like that. But he went out there and he split, just under 51 seconds, which pretty dang good when you're running on that, small track. So, and then the women ran, fantastic as well. I'm pretty happy, kind of we're in that range of things, 400, 6, 800, we're working we're in pretty good shape as far as that goes. Taylor Ludwig's, running fantastic, and actually I checked in on her. It's a little sore hamstring this week, so we're kind of, working through that. But she's been having a fantastic year. She just dropped the hammer in her relay split. I mean, she can, if we're close, she can get us competitive in a hurry. And Peyton Herbst is fantastic as well. She had a fantastic day too. She's the leader in the conference in the mile. And if you guys ever get a chance to watch her do it, she's ultra competitive, right? She will just run as hard as she can, as long as she can, until something bursts or she gets across the finish line. So she's a fantastic competitor. So, and some of these other girls are running pretty good. JC Wilson is coming along pretty good. She's been running fantastic. Weirdly, she breaks the school record in the half marathon, and then probably her best showing in track so far has been in the 400 meters and the relay. So, which is kind of a surprise to me. But
cool.
She's just a fantastic athlete with a lot of range. So, jumpers too. We're getting Kadar kind of on track as well. She, is probably the favorite in the conference to win the triple jump. She's not close to where she will be here in about 3 weeks. Tyler Quilling is been holding pretty steady. He had a pretty good showing before Christmas and jumped 45 feet 3 inches, I think. And he's been kind of bobbing around there in the high 44s. I'm convinced, once we give him his legs a little bit and kind of back off of him on the training side of things, he's going to be ready to pop a big one here. So,
well, cool.
Yeah, that's first 2 meets.
Yeah, no, I mean, we pretty much are going into conference here in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, with Jamestown leaving the conference, they were usually our biggest competitor, especially on the women's side. What does that do for the competition in our conference and for our team?
Well, if you get on TFERS and you kind of take a look at our conference breakdown, because you can literally go search at NAI, North Star Conference, men, women. The men, man, they have made a big push. Just like they did in cross country, they've got a lot of hurdlers and a lot of sprinters that they brought in. They're deep. They're deeper than they've ever been. And they've got 2 really, really good 5,000 and 3,000 meter runners. And I think, mile, 800, 600, we're going to have an advantage there. In the jumps, we've got a pretty big advantage over them. Relay, we ran really well, and I was pretty happy where we were at. And then they ran, a couple tenths of a second faster than us at that Minnesota meet at Mankato. So they're going to be, it's going to be a lot like the women's race was last year for the conference title. It's going to come down to a couple of events, giving kids opportunities. Jeff Fisher in the weight throw is going to be a big one for us. They are deep in the throws as well, and they have been good in the throws in the distance, and they've added a lot of sprinter and hurdlers, which is something that's been a weakness of theirs, and we have cleaned up a lot of those. But we're missing some kids, right? Gabe Meschke tore his ACL at the Dakota State football game, right? Hunter Johnson's no longer on the team. Jay Liggins is getting ready to do a pro day. You know what I mean? That's one of those. If you have a basically 18 points,
right, just gone.
Almost guaranteed 18 points. He's going to win an event, and he's going to get at least second. He could win both of them. And with Jay, just the swag. If you've ever been around that kid only knows one, kind of emotion, and that's just confidence, right? And that's a little bit infectious. So we're looking for leadership, in kind of other areas. Kane Boshi kind of played through a lot of, kind of groin issues throughout the football season. So we've been really kind of slow playing that stuff for him. He's the returning, 60-meter champion and 200-meter champion, and was a national qualifier last year in outdoor. So if he's healthy, he gives us a good shot to go out and win those events. The key is going to be, all right, we might need some other people to go out there and run and break those other guys up. Even if we win and they go 2, 3, 4, they're still outpointing us, you know, by a lot of points.
right.
And if they are able to
Yep.
do that in a couple of events, all right, we've got to go and do the same thing to them in some other events. And you know, in the throws, we're trying to go and break them up. In the jumps, we're going to have a decided advantage. You know, we're going to need Quill long jump pretty well, but he's in pretty good shape right now. He'll be able to do that. You know, Cleet Rosinski's a great athlete. Good thing is he's pretty good at he's a decathlete.
lot of
He's all-American
stuff,
decathlete, so he's a pretty good hurdler, good 60, good, you know, pretty good in the 400, great long jumper, you know, and he's going to help us out on the relay if we need him. But the trick is like, all right, how do we use him? You know what I mean? Like, is it better to put him in the 200 meters and have him run because that's only a single events time final, and have him run the 60 hurdles? Is it better to put him in the 60 dash and possibly get but then he's got to run 2 races there. So we're trying to long jump him, and he's literally going to run the 60, walk back while the girls are running the 60, get in the blocks again, run the 60 hurdles, and then run over and long jump. So he's a phenomenal athlete. And, you know, Cleet's one of those athletes that if you ask him to do it, he'll never say no, never make an excuse, and he will surprise you every single time. So might be on me to kind of hold the reins back a little bit, you know, on him and not try and push the limits of the human body. Like Peyton last year, what she did a similar kind of a Herculean feat as well.
I remember that.
But yeah, that's kind of where the conference. So Jamestown leaving. On the women's side, they were deep in a lot of things and had some phenomenal kind of quarter milers and stuff like that. This year, Dakota State has picked up some girls as well. Waldorf's doubled the size of their roster too.
Wow.
They've got some great athletes. They're not as deep, you know, in the, you know, kind of that 3, 4, 5 range in some of the placing as it probably could be. But they're going to factor in there, taking points away from us, taking points away from Dakota State. You know, I haven't looked to see, you know, kind of Bellevue and Presentation added cross country this year. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to bring up on the track side, but they will probably have a few kids. You know, they had one kid that just smoking fast in cross country, you know, so there'll be a kid factor in here and there that you've never heard of. There always is.
Well, I mean, looking at, we'll transition over to your job, or your teaching, like I said we would.
Oh, okay.
I told you we would. Looking at like a nutritional standpoint, is there one thing that you wish you could tell every single person in the world that they just needed to know about nutrition or about health? Just one thing.
You know, if I'm going to tell everybody, my athletes or everybody in the world, all right, so everybody in the world, you know, I would just try and tell them to be aware. I feel like, you know, we're in such a digital age where everyone, you know, is constantly being inundated with, you know, information and things like that. And, you know, kids don't sit down with their mom and dad and eat dinner and just kind of connect like a family like they used to. And if you rely on nutrition from, you know, McDonald's or Wendy's or, you know, even, you know, just a regular restaurant, Perkins, whoever you want to go to, if you're relying on them to provide you good nutrition, you got to understand what their job is. Their job is to sell food and be profitable, not necessarily to provide you the best nutrition possible, right? So if you're buying your stuff pre-packaged and stuff like that, that's not necessarily a good thing. If I could get people to cook their food, right? Cook your food, maybe limit your sugar consumption, like those sugary drinks and things like that. I would say those are, if I could get everybody to do that, that would be awesome. And that's, you know, even athletes as well. If I could get them to cook their food once in a while, which can be a little bit of a challenge, depending on kind of where you're at. But then you take a little bit more responsibility for what you're putting in your body, right? And if you can get those green things that kind of grow on the ground, those vegetables in you, it's a lot better because, you know, generally if you pop open a package of something or dump it out of a can, right, that's not fresh fruits or vegetables. So that's kind of what I would tell people. You know, limit some sugary drinks, you know, 50 grams of sugar is a lot to consume. And we could go through the chemical process of how your body's got it, but the main thing is that's just a lot. It's a lot for your body to handle. And then if you cook your food, you know, going to be 100% difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked to Trace earlier on the show a little bit about this, but you guys are heading to NDSU this weekend.
Yep.
Big meet for us to compete at. How do you get the team prepared to go to that kind of a meet?
Well, at the beginning of this week, we went through the plan, right? So I want everyone to go to practice with a purpose, right? I don't want to be the whip and lash, and because practice is hard sometimes. And sometimes if you're in an event, it's a little grindy. Guess what practice is going to be like? It's going to be a little grindy some days, right? So I need them, one, to go to practice and work hard, and two, when it's time to recover, to take that seriously as well, right?
Right.
In order to do that, it's funny, things that you pick up. Coach Hoffman, long time ago when I was a physical education student, said that if you want someone to learn something, there needs to be perceived need for the knowledge. So I try and break things down for everybody, right? So last week, there was a little bit of people with their lips stuck out about the events that they got into or didn't get into, right? And I just kind of worked things out for everybody. So I put up all the stuff from the conference, and I showed them kind of how I make decisions on a week-to-week basis. All right, we got to get seed times here. We got to get seed times here. If you've got a sore hamstring, we're probably not going to put you in this event because that might aggravate those things. And the worst thing is if we pack an injury to the NDSU meet and the South Dakota State meet and then into conference, we don't want it. So if we give you a little rest right now, it's for a reason. So it's funny if you're a coach and you're close to your athletes. Sometimes I feel like I'm flying a little too close to the sun, right? You get to hear complaints can come for lots of different reasons, right? And some of it is all from a good place. I'm driven and I want to do this and this and this. And as a coach, you need to, hold the reins back a little bit. And some people I've really got a goal here and I really want, okay, that's true, but let's take widen out the lens a little bit and understand how all these things kind of work together. So this week, right, Cleet, Tommy, Zoe, and a freshman girl named Tia Halleck are going to get ready to do the multis, right? So basically, it's not getting ready this week, it's getting them ready. First week, all right, what events are we getting covered, okay? In the meet, what competitive situations can we put them in to prepare them, for this meet? That second week of practice, all right, it's a good week to condition. All right, what kind of technical things do we need to work through? Third week, same thing. Let's get them ready. What kind of events are we going to put them in that weekend to get them ready for this weekend? So for the most part, we've got most of our events covered that need to get covered. And that's, on the technical side. Everybody's in pretty good shape, right, right now. And all we need to do is make sure, all right, can we execute the hurdles? All right, does everybody know what they're doing in the shot put? Can we get a decent mark in the high jump? All right, long jump, okay. 1,000 and the 800 are not too those ones aren't too hard, right? So it's making sure that we've covered all those bases. Cleet's been spending a lot of time pole vaulting right now. He's a phenomenal long jumper. We just need to make sure that there's that white line. Just get on the white line. Don't get over the white line. Tommy's been vaulting fantastic. So he's in great shape. So with Tommy, he's been doing this for so long. It's about, all right, let's get you in good enough shape. And then we got to pump the brakes a little bit and make sure that we don't get overtrained or injured. And then let's let her buck. Let's see what's going to happen. So as far as the other stuff goes, as long as we've been able to do the work that we need to in the first two meets, I'm going to put kids in a situation where, all right, these kids are fast. You're fast. If you want a chance to qualify, it's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. So that's kind of where we're at as far as those things go.
What an exciting weekend coming up for
it. It is an exciting weekend, but you don't want to make it more than it is, right? All right, let's go execute. If we're running the 60-meter dash, okay, let's get ourselves set up well in the blocks, okay? Get a good push out. All right, what did that first dry phase look like? All right, come up and just stay relaxed, shoulders down, swing your arms, lift your knees. All right, you execute. If we fail, there's a learning opportunity. Let's go and take a look at that and break that down. Did we set up correctly? All right, how was the start? Let's look at angles, shin, torso, arm action, all those things, right? So we don't necessarily make a situation where if we have, a poor performance or we have a, maybe less than we wanted, all right, let's go make that a learning experience and then carry that into the next week, right? So that's, I don't want to put more pressure on them than they're already putting on themselves. Great competitors put plenty of pressures on themselves anyway. I want to give them a plan to go execute so that they have something. What's the first thing that needs to happen correctly? All right, let's go take care of that.
Well, good. Well, This is going to be our last question because we've already asked you what your favorite memories are from DSU. So we're going to transition. We've asked Gresh and Trace both this question, and we have all answered this. Who's going to win the Super Bowl this weekend?
So, I've been talking with my friends about this for like the last 3 weeks now, and I will never bet against Belichick and Brady.
That's right. Come on.
Right? So if you're asking me, who I, want to win, I don't really have a horse in the race. I'm a 49ers fan, so the better Tom Brady does, then the Garoppolo trade looks all right. I just need Garoppolo to stay healthy. But, Tom Brady's been to more Super Bowls and Breeze, Favre, Marino, all those guys combined, right? Which is ridiculous to think that he's been to 9 Super Bowls, right? And never been out of a game, right? And I saw a statistic about how close they were, right? These games are touchdown or less games, and we look at all the other Super Bowls combined, and they're like 13-point spread usually. So, I am not a Patriots fan, but you got to respect the talent, right? That's right. They're always going to put a plan out there, even with, they don't have the defensive guns, that the Rams do. Right. So, and anything can happen, right? You can get a strip sack on the last play, a last drive of the game. Those things can happen. Those things can always happen, and the Rams do have players that can do those types of things. I mean, their defensive tackle, 20.5 sacks played in the middle of the defensive line. I mean, that's tough. That's incredible, and that's incredibly hard to deal with when you're trying to figure out how you're going to keep pressure out of Brady's face. But if somebody can do it, be the old man goat, So that's kind of where I'm at. If the Rams won, I'm just hoping for a good game. But I'm afraid, we got so many good games in the old NFC Championship. How are we going to top that? But Patriots have figured out a way to do it the last couple of times.
Well, man, man of many wise words. I appreciate all the angles we've had, all the questions, all the answers we've had.
Yes.
If you don't know anything about nutrition after today, I mean, you didn't pay attention to this. You got all the nutrition. Coach, thanks for coming on. Good luck for the rest of the season and into the outdoor season. We'll probably get you on then as well.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. And we'll be back talking, about the past weekend and looking forward to the next right after this. Welcome back to Hawk Talk. I'm going to recap real quick. I don't know where Susanna went, but hopefully she comes back next week. I think she will. Looking at some of the past games this past weekend, men's and women's basketball traveled to Mayville and traveled to Valley City. Both the men's and women's teams lost to Mayville, but they're, again, two tough fought games there. And looking at the Valley, they went to Valley the next day on Saturday. The women's team actually lost that game, but the men's team, they came back. They had played them the weekend before, and they ended up beating Valley, which was very good to see for the men's team. Looking ahead this weekend, they're going to Viterbo and they're going to Waldorf. And if you remember correctly, we beat both Viterbo and Waldorf. We swept them both on the men's and the women's side. So now heading out onto the road, it'll be a good challenge for them, and we are excited to see how they do that, or how they play there. And wrestling, we talked to Gresh. Again, that Jamestown duel got canceled, but they're heading to Morningside this weekend. And then I think in 2 weeks after that, they're heading to the conference tournament, and then national tournament is after that. And hopefully we can get a few more of those wrestlers on in the next couple of weeks. Track, we just talked to Coach Whitcop. They are heading to NDSU this weekend. A big meet, always fun to go there. I know the track team enjoys going to NDSU. It's a really fun environment. Looking back at this past weekend, he mentioned Tyler Quilling. He won the long jump and the triple jump. We had him on a couple weeks ago. Again, just continues to keep performing. I know he'll do well at NDSU. In the 400 on the men's side, we took 3rd, 4th, 7th, and 8th. So we're kind of wrapping things up. We're breaking those scores up, and that's really good to see. Peyton Herbst took 3rd in the mile on the women's side. And like he said, we were 6 of the top 7 in the women's shot put, and so that's always incredible to see for our women's side. Like he said, The women don't always have a whole lot of depth on the throwing side, and so it's great to see even the young girls stepping up. Just 2 reminders I want to give out. The crab feed is happening on Friday night. That's to support the softball team. That's Friday night at 5:30 at the BAC. If you want to get tickets, you can talk to Kristen Fleury or show up at the door maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that. And the bike-a-thon. The Heritage Foundation is putting on a bike-a-thon for clubs, organizations, and sports, anything across campus, or if there's community members who want to help out, you can raise money for scholarships or unrestricted dollars. That's all for this week, but until I see you again next week, Hawks are up.